All right, I want to turn now to Florida Congressman Brian Mast. He served as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army for over a decade, including in Afghanistan, where he served as a bomb disposal expert and sacrificed greatly for this nation. Congressman, thank you for your service and for joining us again.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. You know, you served in Afghanistan, as I said. You had an Afghan interpreter named Tom, as I understand, that worked with you. Are you still in contact with him? Where is he? How's he doing?
We just call him Tom, as to not give up his name, because we still don't know the whereabouts of him, whether he's been able to get out on a special immigrant visa safely or not. It just goes to one of the thousands that have risked their lives for America, can't get vetted, can't get safe passage to America, but obviously the hypocrisy of it, people pouring through our southern border.
Trump released a statement today. Go ahead, Sean.
No, Lindsay, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Trump released a statement. He said, first you bring out all the American citizens, then you bring out all the equipment, then you bomb the bases into smithereens, and then you bring out the military. You don't do it in reverse order like Biden and our woke generals did. No chaos, no death. They wouldn't even know we left. So would the Taliban have taken over if we withdrew our troops the correct way?
Absolutely not. This Biden administration effort to try and go out there and blame President Trump for why this is occurring, they were just doing his policy. It's total Democrat donkey crap that they're spewing. And here's the reality. President Biden chose the pullout. He chose how he was going to do it. He chose to do it completely ass backwards, to say, let's get the people with the guns out of there before we get the people that need protection out of there. That makes no sense whatsoever. Let's withdraw out of our most fortified installations there, the embassy, and move to a place that's totally unprotected, the Karzai airport. That makes no sense whatsoever. Let's take it from a situation that was non-chaotic, had basically 2,500 U.S. troops on the ground, and put it into a situation of total chaos, total deadliness, and have to bring in, let's say, 7,000 to 8,000, maybe more Marines and other U.S. assets. The list can go on and on and on about how backward this is, and to talk about how full of crap they really are. If they actually believed for themselves that this was going to roll in this way, that as the president said, you know, in a week or in a month or in a year, this was bound to happen one way or another, then what moron made the decision to say, let's leave arms, munitions, armor, surface-to-air assets, you name it, let's leave those things and create the most well-equipped Taliban in the history of the Taliban.
Congressman, we left them Blackhawks. We left them other, U.S. planes. Like, we literally just gave them an Air Force. How insane is this?
It's this insane. We could complain about this, and we'll be talking about this for years to come. But every person needs to pray for this right now, because what's happening, we're getting ready to move thousands of both Americans and American allies out of the country by what? Air. Well, what is it that they have right now? Do we have air superiority or not? Not. And what capabilities do they have to knock things out of the sky now that they have control of all of these munitions and arms? It's an enormous threat. And you layer on top of that one other thing. The question has been asked today, why are we not going out beyond this line around the airport to bring our people in safely, like, say, the British are doing, as a question out there? And the reason for that is because the most important thing to this administration is optics, not the safety of U.S. personnel, not the safety of those that helped us, not the safety of those Marines or others on the ground. It is the optics of this situation, and that puts everybody in the most possible danger.
Congressman, speaking about optics, there's a new report that claims the Biden administration actually dismantled a Trump-era crisis bureau that provided protections for citizens trapped abroad in situations just like this one. And the administration reportedly did this after announcing the plan to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan. One, do you know of this? If it's true, what should be the repercussions for those who dismantle this in leadership?
It makes perfect sense that they would do something like that, because they want to dismantle every America First policy, everything that makes sense, right? We can quarterback this and say, who's better off 7 months later, the Taliban or the United States? And keep asking that question about a lot of different entities. But I was asking this question on the Foreign Affairs Committee literally months ago. How many people are there? How many U.S. citizens? How many U.S. allies? How many people do you need to process these special immigrant visas? What if they have a spouse and 3 to 5 family members? All of these crisis questions that need to be answered in order to conduct this in a way that's non-chaotic, the opposite of what they did. None of those literally could be answered. We were given the answer on our committee, Foreign Affairs, over and over again. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know. It sounded like one of their press briefings that they're not having right now.
Congressman, real quick before we go, as someone who has served and truly sacrificed in a way that I don't think most Americans could even fathom, we're approaching the 20th anniversary of 9/11. How concerning is it that we have now taken Afghanistan to a land where we were keeping terrorism from entering our shores to now a country that is controlled not just by the Taliban, but controls U.S. assets left behind, including our equipment and our buildings?
Sean, the concern, we could speak about this for an hour. I'm going to give one example I kind of touched on before. We just created the new terrorist training ground, the new terrorist jihadist Club Med of Afghanistan for anybody that wants to come in there. It's going to be controlled by the Taliban. Layer that on top of the most open U.S. border in the history of our country, and the fact that we've already caught terrorists there. But now who are some of the people being let out in Afghanistan? They're people that were in jails being questioned by the U.S. in the harshest possible ways for the last decade or more, that now think that they were freed by God so that they can go out there and seek their retribution. I think that's not hyperbolic whatsoever.
No. Congressman, thank you for your service. Thank you for joining us.
And you, Sean. All the best.
You bet.